As you probably know, I'm a memory guy, and I really, really love memory techniques. And there's a author who wrote Moonwalking with Einstein named Joshua Foer, and he wrote something that really blew me away. He said, "I have never been particularly good with languages. Despite a dozen years of Hebrew school and a lifetime of praying in the language, I'm ashamed to admit that I still can't read an Israeli newspaper." Yes, you've read that right. Joshua Foer, author of Moonwalking with Einstein and Memory Champion, is one of the most famous authors in the world on memory techniques, and yet he seems not to have used them to fill his coffers with fluency. Now, in all fairness, I do not know to what extent Foer may have used memory techniques since making this statement to experience a boost in Hebrew fluency, but this quote still illustrates a key point. You cannot spend what you don't have, and that's what this particular video is all about. You know, in the world of money, you can use credit cards and loans, and fluency is a special form of wealth that can only be traded between the minds, the mouths, the hearts, and the lungs of people who have saved up, build compound interest, and are willing to invest their time in the language market, i.e. in engaging in discussions with you. So you need to buy fluency. And how do you do this? Well, it's easy. You spend another currency. You spend currency that we all have, usually in more abundance than we realize. And the currency that I'm talking about is time. So if you would like to find more time to work on your language learning goals, here's a nifty little trick that will unload massive amounts of new time for you. And I want you to write it out on an index card or a sheet of paper and put it where you see it every day, and that's this statement: I don't work nearly as hard as I think I do. Now, this sentence sounds cruel, I know, but it's a great motivator, especially when you put it where you can see it while you're farting around on Facebook or twiddling your thumbs on Twitter or whatever you may be doing, and you just can find all kinds of places where you're not working nearly as hard as you think you are. And fluency is a currency, and time is a currency. So time equals fluency, and fluency equals time. And this formula will help you build an effective mindset, because the more fluent you become, the more time you have to work on getting even more fluent, and the more time you have to get more fluent, the more fluent you become. So in other words, place value on one is placing value on the other. Time equals fluency, and fluency equals time. And luckily, I built a community of thousands of people, primarily through email and video courses, who strive and seek and never yield when it comes to language learning. And I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to educate them and to be educated by them. And it amazes me and humbles me every day. But they're always asking me, how do you have so much time to do all this work? How are you so productive? How do you serve so many people? Why haven't I got the time to pull off so many amazing feats? And the answer is this: I value my time, and I use it to become more fluent, and not just fluent in other languages, but fluent as a writer, fluent as a human being. And fluency isn't always linked to foreign languages. It's linked to music, which I also study. It's linked to friendship, to cooking, to driving, to just about every activity you could ever hope to engage in. So time equals fluency, and fluency equals time. The more time you have to become fluent, the more fluent you can become throughout time, and you get better and better and quicker and faster at learning a language. Fluency equals more time, because you have to spend less time learning the language. The better you get at it, you just start to pick things up. And so one thing that is really, really stark and hard to hear is that time doesn't care. Time just doesn't care. Do you know that old Rolling Stones song about time where they sing, "Time is on my side"? Well, forgive my terrible singing, but the fact of the matter is that this song is absolutely positively 100% wrong. Time isn't on your side. It can't be on your side. And because time is not a conscious entity, at least not as far as we know it is, time has no opinions about you. It has no judgments to make. It neither favors you nor punishes you. It simply ticks along 1 second at a time. But time doesn't care about us. We need to seize it and make use of it, because it doesn't do anything until that we use it. And so we can go further by pointing out that the very notion of time is a human invention. Time is a construct. It's kind of a fantasy or a dream. And like any fantasy, it can be shaped without resistance to be anything you choose it to be. So it doesn't matter whether you shape your time a little bit or a lot. You can never damage time by making mistakes with your time. You can only damage yourself by not using time wisely. So in other words, what you are willing to accept from time amounts to accepting what you get from time based on how you define and use time. So again, time equals fluency and fluency equals time, and study that equation well, because the ultimate language learning secret lies within.